Hello, everybody. All right. First off, to those in of course, the United States and Canada, happy Labor Day. Today, of course, is Monday, September 1st, 2025. Of course, it's Labor Day here in the States as well as Canada, from what I understand, at least from what Rick told me yesterday, that today, they celebrate Labor Day as well. So, anyways, we're gonna, of course, give people a chance to come in before we get started. Hopefully, everybody's had a good weekend. Hopefully, everybody's enjoying, of course, the extended weekend. Um, of course, for me, for those of us who, of course, grew up anywhere between like the '60s and maybe 2000s, 2000s, this time of year always marked, the beginning of the school year, as well as, of course, the new season of cartoons to come out. Sure, we've all seen like the old Saturday morning preview show, specials come on like the last week of August, and then, as we get excited about the upcoming, the upcoming shows. Speaking of which, of course, 2 weeks from today, MeTV Tunes will be starting to air the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon back in '87, the '80s one from that ran from 1987 to, I believe, 1996. So, um, well, they'll be running that. So, sure, everybody remembers that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power. All right, so with that being said, of course, a friendly reminder to everybody. If you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. We're almost at the 3 minute mark here. Just give it a few more seconds, and then I'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. Anyways, so watched some. I myself earlier watched, of course, some cartoons from August of 1940, including, of course, some doing impossible things from Popeye, featuring him and Sweepy, among others. Let's see. All right, so we're past the 3 minute mark now. So here's what's on tap for tonight. Of course, going to go over one article from that Park Place, talking about, on Disney Junior, a preschool Avengers Assemble show on Disney Junior. So we'll be checking that article out. Also got, of course, another update on the whole Roger Jackson Psycho Stu situation. Couple of updates there. And then of course we'll do the wrestling wrap. We'll get caught up on all the weekends, wrestling activities. WWE's Clash in Paris, which happened yesterday, and I just realized this too. Ring of Honor also had a kind of a pay-per-view on Friday. We'll be looking at that. Death Before Dishonor, with some major shakeups happening there. AEW's Collision happened over the weekend, and we'll also, of course, look ahead to tonight's Monday Night Raw and the aftermath of the Clash in Paris stuff. Then, of course, we'll wrap things up with this day in each history. So, with all that being said, of course, let me just knew there was something there, just couldn't find it. Anyways, with all that being said, we're coming up on 5 minutes, so why don't we go ahead and get started then? Alright, so let's pull up the article now. And again, friendly reminder to everybody, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. This goes for my Rumble viewers too. You guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. And I will try to answer the questions to the best of my abilities. Just shooting something here. All right, there we go with that. Alrighty then. All right, so here we go. Let me pull this article up here. All right, so preschool Avengers assemble on Disney Junior, but will it be more than just colorful noise? Article by Cham Lee, published yesterday, August 31st, 2025. And by the way, we're, of course, as I said, we're 2/3 of the way through the year already. So we're starting here in September, starting the last quarter of the year, the last third of the year or so. So let's see what's going on here. So Disney Junior has revealed plans for a new preschool animated series titled Marvel's Avengers Mightiest Friends, scheduled to premiere in 2027, so like 2 years away. This show will feature child versions of well-known Marvel characters, including Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Panther, Black Widow, and Thor. And in Japan, they'd call these kind of characters chibis. Chibi-like characters. So, The announcement took place at the Disney Junior Let's Play fan event held at Disney California Adventure Park in Anaheim, California. The series is produced by Disney Junior and Marvel Studios in collaboration with Atomic Cartoons. Marvel's Avengers, Mightiest Friends, is designed to introduce superhero stories to preschool audiences with age-appropriate themes. Let's hope they keep it age-appropriate. At least what most people would consider age-appropriate. Episodes will focus on teamwork, courage, and problem-solving as young Avengers encounter challenges and adversaries. In addition to this new series, Disney Junior will air two 22-minute crossover specials featuring characters from Marvel's Spidey and His Amazing Friends. The first special, titled Marvel, Spidey, and Iron Man Avengers Team Up, is scheduled for October 16th, 2025. It features Iron Man and the Avengers joining Spider-Man to combat villains Ultron and Green Goblin. A second Halloween-themed special is planned for fall of 2026. These specials aim to expand the Marvel Universe's accessibility for younger viewers, building on previous preschool successes. This new series complements Marvel's Iron Man and His Awesome Friends, which premiered in August 2025, so just like a month ago. Actually, just a couple of days ago. But anyways, that show features young versions of Tony Stark, Iron Man, Rarity Williams, Ironheart, and Amadeus Cho, Iron Hulk. As they protect the city from threats, both series are expected to be available on Disney Junior and Disney Plus worldwide through 2025 and 2026. Overall, these projects represent Disney Junior's ongoing strategy to provide engaging age-appropriate content for preschoolers by introducing Marvel superheroes and stories tailored to their developmental stage. Yes, and let's hope they keep it at that point and don't try to push anything that they shouldn't be pushing on kids that young. All right. Anyways, as we continue on here, personal thoughts. From a corporate point of view, the move makes sense. Superheroes have grabbed the pens and canvases of Hollywood for over a decade now. So, to grab the attention of younger viewers is a great way to expand one's market audience. Being a little less cynical for a moment, there is something to having children looking up to heroes. With Disney Junior's target audience being preschoolers, their brains are eagerly trying to conceptualize the world and the fight for the good, to protect, to help. That is a great goal for small children. Much of a child's worldview is set in place by the time they are 7. Giving them role models of virtuous and altruistic attributes is essential, um, especially in a culture that focuses on comfort, self gratification, and temporary pleasure. Hmm. However, I still have a problem, at least of what I have seen when the nephews and nieces are in the room. I find much of Disney Junior lackluster. It's colorful. It will hold the energetic 4-year-old's attention long enough for the parents to get a break or a few chores done around the house. It even has something to teach kids. This is, I guess, the name of the author again. Oh, Sham Lee. This is what Chan's point of view on all this. Let's see. The characters feel copy paste. The effort enough to keep churning out content, but I just wonder where the heart is behind it. I have a family member who teases me for critiquing kids' content. "Quote unquote, it's just for kids." Yeah, that's the point. The entertainment diet of a small child is already shaping what they see as a good story. More than that, it is shaping their perception of reality. That's not to say that Disney is necessarily doing a bad job of portraying reality, at least not on Disney Junior. Parents trust preschool programming to be safe. Disney Junior isn't widely known for pushing ideology in the same way that Disney, as a broader company, has become infamous for. But with Marvel's track record in recent years, families are right to be cautious. it's kind of funny because I did hear a little bit about this. Not that I would necessarily talk about this too much, nor was I necessarily planning to. But they make an interesting point because there's another story that some of you may have heard about where recently Snoop Dogg, I guess, took his, and I don't know if it was daughter or granddaughter or something, to the movies, and it was, I think, The Little Mermaid or something like that. And in this particular version of The Little Mermaid, they somehow had a child being conceived by two women. And his little, I guess, granddaughter was asking, wait, there's two women there. How does that happen? It's like, he didn't know how to answer that. Even comment. But now he's like kind of in the doghouse, as it were. So, because people, hey, metal. Again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And that goes to my Rumble viewers as well. Let's see. If Disney Junior sticks to teamwork and kindness, great. If not, even preschoolers won't be shielded from the culture wars, which unfortunately has been there are some people out there, who do push these ideologies, who do want to push it on kids as young as preschool, especially those kids that are not their own kids. So we've seen many a situation where school boards and parents have gotten into big battles over because the parents didn't want the schools trying to push certain things onto their children that they felt were not appropriate to be doing so, but yet a lot of school boards and a lot of mainstream media will just say, hey, you shut up and take it. Kids cartoons have the opportunity to make kids love good characters, not so that they can beg mom and dad in the grocery store for another toy from their favorite show, but to challenge them to see life through another's eyes. Disney Junior shows are often so formulaic, they do just enough to justify their existence. My mind goes to shows where the creators truly loved children, and you felt that. They truly wanted to go beyond entertaining to teaching life morals, social skills, you name it. Whether it was Jim Henson's beloved and innovative puppets on Sesame Street to Mr. Rogers' compassion and kindness to Bluey's detailed characterization that truly makes you feel like a muffin in your life. Beyond this, all the shows mentioned were not afraid to talk about the hard things of life. Small children pick up on more of life than adults give them credit for. Shows that recognize this carefully tell stories that give children words to express their world and feelings. As Mr. Rogers said, anything that's human is mentionable. Anything that is mentionable can be more manageable. When we can talk about our feelings, they become less overwhelming, less upsetting, and less scary. People we trust with that important talk can help us know that we are not alone. Unquote. That was, of course, a quote from Fred Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You are special. Hmm. All right, continuing on here. Friendly reminder, of course, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, good children's shows not only tell them to be kind, tell children they are not alone. Disney Jr. often feels too quote unquote safe to ever be that creative or vulnerable. Let's see. That is not to say you should not let your children watch the upcoming Disney Junior superhero shows. Maybe they will surprise. Maybe they will surprise. But considering Disney Junior often seems to just do what works to pull in a younger audience, so as to pull in more money, well, I do not expect any greatness coming out of its new lineup. And even small children deserve something great to capture their attention, don't you think? And then just, what do you think of children's programming? This, that, and the next. All right, so with that, that's the end of that article. That was really the only article I had planned for tonight. Let's see, we're at 22 minutes. Let's see. Maybe I'll look around and see if maybe anything new popped up since I picked out some articles earlier. So let me just go ahead and clear this out. And again, as always, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, I'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Um, oh, okay. Here's an article. I guess we can do. So I found something that don't work out for us. All right, so all right, then, so let's get into this next article here. All right, so Spider-Man 94 will not reveal how Peter Parker saved MJ from limbo. Quote, if this mini does well, we can double back and find out exactly what happened, unquote. article by Spencer Bucoli, published on the first quarter. We talked about this a couple weeks ago too, I think. Talked about this before. So, in an absolutely baffling creative decision, given how most readers will be picking the series up specifically to finally receive a proper resolution to the original show's cliffhanger ending, Spider-Man 94, Volume 1, writer J.M. DeMatteis has confirmed that the upcoming comic book mini will not explain how Peter Parker ultimately saved MJ from Limbo, Jane, but instead begin its story sometime after her rescue. Now, my guess is they must have added to this story because I remember reading that specific part. This might be just a maybe they've added more to the story or update or what have you. But let's continue on here. So for those who either never saw Spider-Man the animated series or may need a quick refresher, the unresolved plot thread concerning MJ's sudden interdimensional trip first kicks off in the show's season 3 finale, Turning Point. Essentially, a TV Y7 appropriate recreation of the night when Stacy died. The episode finds the Green Goblin finally putting together Spider-Man's secret identity and choosing to use this knowledge to escalate their ongoing war, realizing that rather than fighting him, it's much easier and far more effective to attack those he loves, beginning with MJ. Kidnapping her and fleeing to the top of the George Washington Bridge with the intent of throwing her off its heights, the villain is stopped from doing so by the sudden arrival of Spider-Man, who moves MJ out of harm's way before proceeding to beat the snot out of his arch nemesis. Finding himself on the back foot, the Goblin once again takes aim at MJ, this time using his glider to unleash a scattershot barrage of missiles upon the woman and her superpowered bow. Though the initial projectiles failed to hit their targets, the resulting explosions caused by their impact with the bridge send massive shock waves through its structure, the effects of which give Norman Osborn an unintentional win by causing MJ to lose her balance and fall towards the Hudson River below. Of course, initially, obviously, anybody who had been seeing the incident would have naturally thought she basically fell to her death. But if you have watched the show, then you know. All right. So as we continue on here. Unable to find her body in the waters, Spider-Man initially believes MJ had perished in the fall. But it is soon revealed to the viewers that rather than falling into the icy waters, she instead found herself falling through a portal to Limbo. as he had accidentally generated under her by the as had been accidentally generated under her by the Green Goblin's own interdimensional travel device during the preceding chaos. And though MJ, Mary Jane, would seemingly return a short while later, conspicuously absent of any knowledge of how she survived the fall, it is soon revealed that this is not actually MJ, but rather a hydroclone made by none other than Miles Warren, aka the Jackal. Suddenly, unfortunately, before the hero could begin a search for the real MJ, he would not only find himself an unwilling participant in both the Beyonders' secret war and the first ever Spider-Verse adventure, but also just as Madam Web invites Spider-Man to begin looking for her, the series' overall cancellation. Now that would have been an interesting story to follow up on. Of course, here they have the picture of Mary Jane falling into Mary Jane, who was voiced at the time by Sarah Ballantine, plunges into a limbo portal in Spider-Man the Animated Series, Season 3, Episode 14, Turning Point. To this end, with DeMatteis confirming at the time of the Spider-Man 94 Volume 1's announcement, Marvel was, quote, treating this as the next season of the show, unquote, as well as the books solicit, boasting that it would see the webhead, quote, swinging back into the streets of New York City with his beloved Mary Jane Watson in tow, unquote. Many fans found themselves understandably excited at the prospect that this plot line would not only be coming to a close, but a happy one. Sadly, while the miniseries will move past MJ's disappearance to tell new stories in the TAS continuity, of the animated series continuity, it will not explain just how the web-crossed lovers reunited. Asked during a July interview with CBR, Comic Book Review's Brian Cronin, as to whether, quote, the series be more of a direct continuation of the cartoon's cliffhanger, or will it be more of, quote unquote, sometime later approach to give yourself a bit of a blank slate as a starting point, unquote? And that is said the latter. Which, as I recall reading this portion of the article before, a lot of fans were not happy with that, to say the least. All right, so all right, quote, the latter explained the seasoned author of the original Kraven's Last Hunt storyline. Quote, we learned that Peter gone to hell and back in order to bring MJ home. That they've had an incredible, harrowing adventure along the way, but we don't get into the details. As our story opens, they're home and ready to begin a new life together, unquote. Quote unquote. That said, he added, quote, if this mini does well, we can double back and find out exactly what happened in the next one, unquote. Oh, they want to test the waters, basically saying they want to test the waters to see if people actually want this Anyway, he actually wants the storyline to continue. Featuring artwork by current Spider-Verse versus Venomverse Volume 1 author Jim Toe. The first Spider-Man 94 Volume 1's 5-issue run is currently on track to begin webbing up store shelves on September 3rd, which will be this Wednesday. Oh, there we go with that one. So now let me see what time we got here. So we're at 35 minutes. So, all right. So we got a couple good stories in there. So let me just do one more. Well, this will also help lead into the wrestling wrap up, as it were. Also leading to the wrestling wrap up. So as I said, there's some updates on the whole Raja Jackson Psycho Stu incident that happened. I believe now it'd be a little over a week ago at the Knox Pro Wrestling event. Some good news. Psycho Stu is out of the hospital now. So he was finally released from the hospital after the beating he took from Roger Jackson. So his family has thanked everybody for their prayers and concerns and all that. On the other side of the story, of course, apparently it's the California State Police has decided to take over the investigation, as the LAPD seems to be dragging their feet in the investigation. And as of yet, I mean, it's been over a week now. It's been, I think the attack happened on the 23rd, so like 8 days ago, basically. So over a week ago, and Roger Jackson still is not, and some people are saying that LAPD has been dragging their feet. Don't really want to do this, but so the California State Police have decided to intervene and get involved with this investigation. So just those two updates on that situation. So now with all that being said, let's go back and do the wrestling wrap up here. We got quite a bit to go over. I'll go over a lot of the stuff real quickly here. So first off, Friday night we had Friday Night SmackDown from Paris, and Ring of Honor also had a show. Let me just go back to that. So on SmackDown, basically the Go Home SmackDown heading into Sunday's Clash in Paris event, coming from the LDLC Arena in Dessines-Charpeau, France, with Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary. The opening match of the evening saw Alexa Bliss defeat Chelsea Green at Alba Fire in her corner. Michin defeated Kiana James in 7 seconds with Julia in her corner. In a number one contenders match to determine who would next face the Wyatt Six at Clash in Paris for the WWE Tag Team Championship, the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford defeated Mello Don't Miz of Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. Of course, B-Fab was in the corner of the Street Profits. They also, and in the main event, saw a United States title match as Sami Zayn, who recently returned to SmackDown after some time on Raw, defeated Solo Sikoa to become the new United States champion. So that happened on SmackDown. So now let's go ahead and continue looking over what happened on Friday. And also on Friday, Ring of Honor held its Death Before Dishonor event, from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, PA, of course, the former home of Extreme Championship Wrestling. The 0 Hour pre-show, which was on YouTube with Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman on commentary. Opening match on the pre-show, on the 0 Hour pre-show, saw Jay Lethal defeat Jordan Oliver just under 7 minutes. The M&M collection of Mansoor and Mason Madden with Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie in their corner. Won a three-way match between the Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver and the Frat House of Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. Evil Uno was in the corner of the Dark Order, and Jack Jameson was in the corner of the Frat House. In a pure rules match, Billy Starks defeated Ashley Vox. And in a $50,000 four-way match, Dralistico of LFI outlasted Angelico of the Spanish Announce Project, Adam Priest, and AR Fox, with, of course, Serpentico being in the corner of Angelico. Now, to the main Death Before Dishonor card itself. Take a look at that. Also happening, of course, from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia with Caprice Coleman, Ian Riccaboni, and Don Callis on commentary. Which was on ringofhonor.com wrestling. Hold on a second. All right. So I had to kind of re-log in, as it were, as I was logged out by the site. So I had to log back in on this. Obviously not on the StreamYard site, but on the reference site I'm using, cagematch.com. All right, so Death Before Dishonor, the opening match, it's on a tag team match. The conglomeration duo of New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Tomohiro Ishii and Hologram defeating the premier athletes of Arya Davari and Tony Nese with Mark Sterling in their corner. In a match for the vacant Ring of Honor World Six-Man titles, the titles that had to be vacated when Dustin Rhodes got injured during his brief run as TNT champion. The Shane Taylor Promotions trio of the infantry of Carly Bravo and Sean Dean and Shane Taylor, with Anthony Ogogo and Trish Adora in their corner, defeated the Sons of Texas of Sammy Guevara and the Von Erichs, Marshall and Ross Von Erich. Now, I didn't watch the event, so I can't comment on it, but based on some of the things I've seen in the results, when I've looked them over, something major, I think, happened. But I haven't seen the show or anything like that yet. In a quarterfinal match for the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Title Tournament, Queen Aminata defeated Taya Valkyrie. In a tag team match, a team now calling themselves the Swirl of Blake Christian and Lee Johnson defeated the Kingdom, former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. In a Ring of Honor Pure Title match, Lee Moriarty of Shane Taylor Promotions defeated CMLL's Lecua. In a Fight Without Honor, QT Marshall defeated Paul Walter Hauser. In a match for the vacant Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, La Facción Ingobernables duo of Sammy Guevara and Roosh defeated the Outrunners of Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum. Now, what I believe here, what happened here is Guevara, I think, turned on the Von Erichs, and that's why they ended up losing the six-man title. Ended up turning on the Von Erichs and decided to join Los Facción Ingobernables. In a match for the Ring of Honor world title, Bandido successfully defended against CMLL's Alchemist Hechicero. Bandido, of course, is also currently one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions with Brody King as Brodito. And the main event saw in a match for the Ring of Honor Women's World title, Athena with Billy Starks in her corner defeated Mina Shirakawa, who is also currently the interim Women's World Television Champion in Ring of Honor right now. So Athena retained over Mina there. So that's all from Friday. So now looking ahead, of course, to Saturday. Looking ahead to Saturday in AEW as AEW, of course, is marching towards let's see, it's now just under 3 weeks away from their next event, all out, I believe. Coming off of their not yesterday, but the week before, coming off of their Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Let's see. Let's go back to Saturday night and look at what happened on Collision. So on Saturday's Collision, which also came in 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Tony Schiavone, Nigel McGuinness, Don Callis, and Matt Menard on commentary. Opening match saw Daniel Garcia defeat Blake Christian in a singles match. In a tag team match, Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher, of course, the current TNT champion of the Don Callis family, defeated the conglomeration duo of Tomohiro Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly. Hologram defeated Jay Lethal in a singles match. Alex Windsor defeated Ashley Vox in just over a minute and laid out another challenge to Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. In a tag team match, regaining some momentum coming off of their loss at Forbidden Door, FTR's Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler defeated Adam Priest and JD Drake. Adam Priest has been teaming with the Workhorsemen of late. Big Bill of the Learning Tree defeated Juice Robinson in a one-on-one match, just under 10 minutes. And in a six-woman trios match as your main event, saw Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, and AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm defeat Billy Starks and 2/3 of the Triangle of Madness of Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Now, as we, of course, move ahead to Sunday, to yesterday, Sunday, as WWE held its Clash in Paris yesterday. From the Paris La Defense Arena in Nanterre, France, PLE, with Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary on Peacock. The opening match saw Roman Reigns defeat Bronson Reed in a one-on-one match, regained his sneakers, decided to pass them out to the fans, only for, of course, Braun Breaker to come and attack Reigns, and for Breaker and Reed to basically double team Roman Reigns to get him off television for a while. In a match for the WWE Tag Team titles, the Wyatt Six duo of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, with, of course, the remaining members of the Wyatt Six of Uncle Howdy, Nikki Cross, and Eric Rowan in their corner, retained over the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, with BFAB in their corner. Of course, the Street Profits just recently came off of the number one contenders match, winning that match on Raw over Melodome Miz. Let's see. Becky Lynch retained the Women's Intercontinental title over Nikki Bella. In a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, Rusev defeated Sheamus in this very brutal match between these two. Two big hosses going at it is what a lot of people love about. John Cena defeated Logan Paul in a singles match. And in the fatal four-way for the WWE World Heavyweight title, Seth Rollins defeated CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight after the other members of the Vision, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, were thrown out earlier in the night. Somebody was still able to come back and give Rollins a hand in retaining the WWE World Heavyweight title. It was revealed that it was Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, who also happens to be Rollins' husband. It's believed that she may be the latest member of the Vision. And there is also some talk with a lot of talk and hype about the possibility of AJ Lee coming back to the WWE, the former Divas champion. And with that being even more solidified with the fact that CM Punk's her husband, there's been a lot of talk that maybe at the next pay-per-view next month, or next Premium Live event next month, on the same day as All Out, of AEW's All Out, WWE's trying to counter-program AEW again. Let's see. There's been some talk of setting up a possible mixed tag match between Rollins and Lynch and Punk, and battle of husbands and wives. So I'll tell you something. The last husband and wife match I saw, husband and wife mixed tag match I saw, was actually on Impact a few years ago, where current SmackDown GM Nick Aldis, along with his wife Mickie James, teamed up to defeat the complete Matt Cardona and current WWE star Chelsea Green. So there you go with that. Hello, Jefferson Starship Trooper. Welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Feel free, of course, to comment and or ask questions if anything grabs your attention. I will try to answer the questions as best I can. Anyways, as we get ready to continue on here. So now we're going to look ahead to tonight's Monday Night Raw, see how WWE will follow up the Clash in Paris. soon as I get that. Don't know if they have any matches actually scheduled yet, but I'll find out for you in a moment here. So, coming from the Paris La Défense arena in Nanterre, France. Scheduled for tonight's show, the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane team up to take on the Judgment Day's female members, former and basically in a battle of former women's tag team champions here, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Finn Balor of the Judgment Day takes on Dragon Lee of the LWO. Penta teams with the returning War Raiders, take on Grayson Waller and the New Day. In a match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, Dominic Mysterio will be defending against AJ Styles. In a tag team match, Jey Uso teams with LA Knight to take on the Vision's Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So that's all I got for the wrestling wrap-up for you guys tonight. So now with that being said, of course, let's start to wrap things up, as now with today being Monday, September the 1st, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So let me just check 35, 2020, 2020, and 1965. All right, so first off, I'm going to head back 90 years ago, as on this date 90 years ago, back in 1935. In 1935, the 15th issue of Famous Funnies from Eastern Color, known then as the Eastern Color Printing Company, went on sale on this date back in 1935. It sold for 10 cents for 64 pages. The reason it was so big, now, at this point, this is still very early on in comic history. And of course, the comic books that were coming out at the time were doing primarily reprints of Sunday strips. Some of the features in there included, of course, Connie, Dixie Dugan, Bobby, Hairbreath Harry, Buck Rogers, Buddy and Fatty, Smatter Pop, Honey Bunches, Hubby. Let's see. Joe Palooka, Nipper, Dan Dunn, so Pee Wee, Queenie, so Jane Arden, Lena Fry, Dead Brat. So 90 years ago today, the 15th issue of 15th issue of Famous Funnies went on sale on this date back in 1935. So now moving on to the next piece in each history. So we move ahead to the year 1965. On this date in the year 1965, as soon as I find that. On this date in the year 1965, 60 years ago today, 60 years ago today, the TCJ's 8-Man made its English dubbed U.S. debut on this date back in 1965. 8-Man was an anime that was originally produced in 1963. So in 1965, 8-Man was brought to the U.S. as 8th Man, or Fantastic 8th Man, in trade ads and TV guide listings, with ABC Films as its syndicated distributor. The original intro was replaced by a new intro, animated by Hal Seeger Productions. 52 of the original 56 episodes were dubbed into English. So there you go with that one. So on this date, 60 years ago today, the English dub U.S. version of Eight Man from TCJ premiered on American television on this date back in 1965. Now, moving ahead to the year 2020, on this date in the year 2020, 5 years ago today, on this date 5 years ago, from the impact zone in Orlando, Florida, I believe is where it most likely happened, Eric Young defeated Eddie Edwards to become the new Impact World Champion. So on this date 5 years ago today, Eric Young defeated Eddie Edwards to become the new Impact World Champion. And 2020 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date 5 years ago, as soon as I grab that, let's see, Mattel Television's Barbie Princess Adventure premiered on TV on Netflix on this date 5 years ago today. So on this date 5 years ago today, Mattel Television's Barbie Princess Adventure debuted on Netflix. The Barbie Princess Adventure is a 2020 CGI animated musical adventure comedy children's television film directed by Conrad Helen and written by Ann Austin, which was first released on Netflix in the United States on September 1st, 2020. The 37th entry in the Barbie film series, the first Barbie-branded production produced by Mattel Television since their mid-2019 rebrand from Mattel Creations. All right, so there we go with that. So that's all I got for you tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here tomorrow with more Niche News. And of course, I'll be joined this Sunday by Apex from Apex Comics, as we'll be taking another trip down Comics History Lane. And I should be better this Sunday than I was last night. Just was probably maybe just a little mentally drained, so that's why we only got to do 2 stories only an hour. But we'll hopefully be back to 2 hours this Sunday. But with that, I thank you all for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.